If I were to start all over again, what would I do to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time? And I think that is relevant to anybody here, anyone in the world that wants to, make more money or grow their income. And so I really thought about what I would do, and it got me to thinking, well, why do we get paid? Why do we make money as real estate investors or as business people? And it's about adding value. We've got to figure out how we're going to add more value. And the more value we add, the more money we make. The more you will get paid, the more value you add. And then I thought back to where I was starting. I said, okay, well, how do I add value if I'm just starting out? And I realized this: if I was starting out tomorrow, or if I wanted to get better at another skill, I would get ridiculously good at one thing. I would get as good as I can at one thing. And the way I would get really good at something is I would just do it over and over and over and over and over again until it got boring. And I just wanted to leave you with this very simple idea tonight, that if you want to make more money, if you want to add more value, get really good at something. Anything in real estate. It almost doesn't matter what. But if you can get better than anybody else at one single thing, then you will own that skill or that capability, and you will add more value and you will make more money. And so to make it tangible, I want to give you an idea, a concept of what I did when I started. Because I thought about why doesn't everybody do this? And I got over a decade of data of chats from all our Zooms and all of the things, like all of this information I take and I figure out why people behave the way they do, and comes down to two reasons why people have trouble getting really good at something. And if you're here, you're in one of these two camps. And I want you to think about what camp you're in. And if you feel brave enough, you can put it in the chat. Either A, you don't know what to get really good at. So it's like, where do I start? What do I even do? What do I get really good at? Or B, you're not willing to put in the time, not willing to put in the reps. I know it might sound bad, but you gotta call it out that in order to get good at something, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the reps. If you want to build the muscles at the gym, you want to build the bicep, the size of your bicep is only related to how many times you do this, right? How many times you lift the weight. If you lift it 100 times, it'll be a certain size. If you lift it 1,000 times, it'll be bigger. It will be bigger. And so the skill that you want to learn, how good you are at it, is related to how many reps you put in, how much you practice this skill. And so I want you to think about, do you not know what to get really good at? And since I'm posing this question now, you might need to take this away and think about it. But I want you to think about, do you not know what skill to get good at? Or do you know what skill to get good at, but it's just you don't want to put in the work? Because it's going to take work. And I want to give you an example of when I started. A couple of things that I was really good at in my very first year as a real estate investor. I was 20 years old. And what I got really good at, nobody told me this. I just realized later on that I did this almost out of luck, out of default. I got really good at analyzing properties. I got really good at running the 4 ways to win. I did it so many friggin' times. I put so many reps in, thousands and thousands of reps over the last 20 years of doing this, that and in the first year or two, I put in probably 1,000 reps of analyzing properties, that I could open MLS and I could look at a property and I could know very accurately, more accurately than anybody I knew, of if that would be a good rental property or not. Not because I was, psychic, not because I had some special power. I just analyzed so many friggin' properties that I knew based on the price point, the location, what the potential rent is. I knew generally what expenses were for that type of property. I put in the reps and I got really good at something. And I give you the example of what worked for me, because there was a million things I wasn't good at, but I picked one thing and I got really good at one thing. And so my challenge for you leaving here tonight is, think about, what is it, the one thing that you're going to get really good at, and put in the reps, get really good at it, at that one thing, because you will get paid very well for that one skill. Use my example of being able to analyze a property, and the result of that is being able to find killer deals. I could find killer deals that nobody else could. Now I want you to think about it. This is rhetorical, or it's open to the chat. Do you think that people would pay me that can't find killer deals that can find because I can find killer deals. Do you think that's a skill that gets compensated well? The answer is yes, absolutely. I would be able to raise money. I'd be able to get partners because I could bring something to the table they couldn't. And the only reason I could do that is not because my parents taught me, is not because I was good at it. There was no course, there was no school. I was a science major, the farthest you could get from analyzing properties, just because I did it. I did it again and again and again and again. So think about, my challenge to you is, what can you do over and over again that you get ridiculously good at, that the world will compensate you big bucks, a lot of money in order to do? And so that's what I wanted to leave you with, is just keep doing it. Just keep trying. Pick something that you want to get really good at and put in the reps. If you don't even know where to start, just copy me. Just start analyzing properties. You've got all the materials. You got the 4 ways to win. You've got a million things that I never had. And you could just go in and imagine you analyze 10 properties a week. After 3 months, you would be the best person in your city at analyzing properties. Like, you would be the best hands down, because you'll do it, just doing it more than everybody else. Isabel says exactly what I was doing today. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not analyzing properties. Maybe it's finding markets. Maybe it's talking to partners. Maybe it's, managing tenants. I got really good at managing tenants as well. That was another thing I really like doing, because I like the people aspect. But the point here is, are you the type of person that doesn't know what to do to get good at, or you're not willing to put in the time? Because it's going to take time. It's going to take reps. But I promise you, if you put in the time, it is guaranteed you will get better. It is just how the human brain works. You will get better at whatever you decide to do if you put in the reps. The last thought I'll leave you with is, a lot of people are afraid to lose because losing sucks. But you've got to lose over and over again in order to win. In my example, it was, you got to analyze properties and have properties that don't work over and over and over again. 5, 6, 7 properties, doesn't work. A loss. And you got to get through those to get to the winners. You got to lose in order to win. And I like to think about it this way. Winners lose more than losers. All right, think about that. Winners lose more than losers. Because in order to win, you got to get through the losers. My example is analyzing properties, but whatever it is you want to get good at, be prepared to lose and lose and lose and lose and lose to get to that win. In fact, if you need 15 losses, get those out of the friggin' way as quick as possible in order to get to that win. When you get to that win, you will get better. Every single loss, you get better at what you're doing. And the world will pay you for that. The world will reward you with value, reward you with money. So